T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kush's Corner here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Tonight, I am joined by Alek Najarian, one of the best young guys doing it in the hobby today of this younger generation that's coming up. Definitely one of the guys having the absolute most success with some incredible species from Lace Monitors, Heloderma, a bunch of other monitors. We're going to get into a lot of that tonight. I'm very excited to be having this episode. But before we get into that, of course, as always, USARC. So USARC is the organization that is fighting for our rights to keep our reptiles, to run our reptile businesses, and to live this lifestyle. Check out usarc.org for everything you need to know about the organization. That website is also where you can find alerts as to new pieces of legislation introduced either at the national level or at local levels, as well as updates on any pieces of legislation. usarc.org is also where you can become a member of the organization. As a community, we have strength in numbers, and the more people that are behind the cause, the better. And here we are. Thank you to everybody who is tuned in live, catching the replay. Man, episode 100. This is kind of crazy. You know, when I was first starting this journey just shy of 2 years ago, episode 100 seemed like so far in the distant future. I couldn't even fathom it. And you know, here we are. It's pretty awesome. You know, big shout out to MJ for the opportunity to have the show on here, and you know, everybody who has watched, listened, and all the guests especially, man, that they have really made the show what it is. So it's you know, very much appreciated. Got the 2-year anniversary show coming up next week with Alex Myers, of course, keeping the tradition going. First episode, year 1 and year 2, so we're going to be getting right into it. But anyway, that is for next week, and here we are this week. But if you are currently here on YouTube, and if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. New podcasts come out every single day of the week here on the Trap Talk Reptile Network from some of the best hosts in the game, talking about a wide variety of topics from within the reptile industry. So if you are a reptile podcast fan, you have come to the right place. But if you are more of an audio person like myself, we are on all of the major audio platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google. Wherever you get your podcast from, you can find the Trap Talk Reptile Network. A follow and a 5-star review on any of those platforms would be most appreciated. And with that housekeeping out of the way, let's bring Alek on to the show. What's going on, dude? Thank you for being here with me tonight.
What's up? What's up? How's everybody?
It's been a long day getting some work done, but we're finally here, so I'm happy to be sitting down.
Yeah.
So for anybody who isn't familiar with you, kind of give us a little bit of a rundown of your life and times in reptiles. You know, what brought you to where you are today?
So I'm about to hit 10 years keeping, I think, roughly. We had turtles when I was like a little kid. I think I was like 5, 6, 7 years old or something like that. And my mom, she kind of got tired of cleaning them because, I mean, you know, we were little kids. So she wanted to get rid of them, and she got rid of them at Jay's, actually, Prehistoric Pets. And pretty much, I mean, from there, you know, I didn't go when we got rid of them, but, you know, she told me, she was like, hey, you got to check this out. You know, all the reptiles, all the animals, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, and then, you know, we went there and it was just kind of over from there. And I mean, I didn't get my first, I mean, I used to watch like, you know, old snake bites, you know, Brian Barczyk videos back in the day, you know, like for, you know, years and years and years. And on my 13th birthday, my mom got me a bearded dragon, and then it's kind of over from there. you know, turn into this.
Yeah.
Turn into a whole big ordeal.
So, as a kid, were you always fascinated by reptiles, or was it kind of like that moment of being at Prehistoric Pets when you were young? Was that kind of like the spark that got it all rolling?
I mean, I kind of always liked animals. Like even before that, like my mom's got pictures, like, like birthday parties when you're a kid. Like I think one time, I think we had the turtles already, but I mean, she brought over like some reptile person or something like that. And then actually later on, like, a few years after getting rid of the turtles and knowing about Jay's, we did another kind of reptile birthday party. But I mean, I've always kind of liked animals. It's always been my thing. But I mean, yeah, like I wasn't really, yeah, I was like catching lizards when I was a kid, but nothing compared to like the herping I'm doing now. That didn't really start until like I actually started keeping reptiles. Like I was like 13, 14, and then my older friends would take me out, and but always just been kind of fascinated, just by everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
Reptiles in general.
Yeah, we kind of have this in common, but in very different ways of being very fortunate as to where we grew up in terms of herpetoculture. Chicago, not much herping to be done in the immediate area, but the community there is huge.
Yeah.
SoCal, you have both. So, I mean, what influence do you think growing up where you did in Southern California had on your, early life in herpetoculture?
Honestly, I don't think it was. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, like Southern California has like a big reptile hobby, just industry. But honestly, I feel like it was more like watching YouTube videos and stuff when I was a little kid. Like that's what I really, and then it's like when I finally got to be able to like do those things, it's like, oh crap, like, it's a whole big thing,
Sure.
Yeah.
So when did the reptile YouTube world kind of cross your radar? When did that first happen?
Probably just, I'm just maybe like 5, 6 years old, something like that. Oh no, not like 5. What am I saying? More like, I don't know, I was a kid, maybe like 10 or something, or somewhere around there, 8, 9, roughly.
So before you were keeping pet reptiles?
Oh yeah, way before. Yeah, like okay. 3, 4, 5 years before. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I had nothing. Yeah.
So then, I guess what I love to these shows I'm doing with the kind of like our generation, when talking to older keepers, their story and our origin stories, they're never the same because it's pre and post.
I mean, look at what I just said. I just said YouTube. All the old guys is like, oh yeah, I saw a picture in a book,
right. Exactly. But I mean, man,
love you old guys. I love all of you, I'm friends with all of you, but it's a difference, a huge difference.
Yeah, but I think it's probably really relatable as well to a lot of, the younger keepers of the hobby that, may not see their story represented by people who are doing podcasts and whatnot. So with your exposure to the YouTube side of things, when did it really click to you that there's like a hobby and an industry, a community around this mutual love of reptile keeping? Only to Calvin. You're 17, Calvin. Shut
Hey, don't be saying too much shit, man. Don't be saying too much shit, Calvin.
Calvin, you don't want to get started, man.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't say it started. I said I'd probably, like, when I actually started keeping, that's when I probably, I was like, because actually right after I got my first bearded dragon, like I got another one like 2 months later, and I was like, to my mom, I'm like, it's a rescue, we're getting it from Petco, just stupid crap like that. But it was probably when I started like volunteering at Reptile Island when I was a kid. It's just like a local pet shop to me. They kind of gave me my start, but then they actually, like a couple years later, when I was still like 15, 16 or whatever, like 14, somewhere around that age. But they actually they offered me a job because they actually needed me on certain days. But it probably wasn't until then where I was just like, oh crap, like this is a, an industry. This is a big, big to do.
Okay.
But it was probably there, like right around 12, 13, that age probably.
Cool. So then working at that pet store, what kind of species were they keeping in stock there? What did you get kind of into your like first early exposure beyond what you were just keeping at home?
I mean, they had everything. I mean, anything from ball pythons to, they had like a really big blue tail monitor there. That's where I kind of fell in love with Argus monitors, was there. They had like a pretty large group of those over there.
Okay.
Yeah, anything from freaking ball pythons to Argus monitors to weird looking geckos, like like a normal pet shop,
Sure.
But it wasn't like a like Petco where it's just like bearded dragon, corn snake, king snake,
Right.
stuff. It's it was a full on reptile shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess then
they didn't have anything that I keep. Let's just say that they didn't. They didn't have beadeds. They didn't have lace monitors.
Sure.
They didn't have all the aldatria I have. They had none of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, any of us who kind of had that luck of being able to work at a pet store or a zoo or whatever it may be, you get exposed to so many different species that you can really learn what you like and what might not interest you as much without having to, fully get into a project or bring an animal home. So did that change your mindset as far as what you were wanting to keep, personally? Obviously, like you said, was that where the obsession with monitors, you said with the Argus, but like in general, is that where that monitor fixation really set in? Like, how do you think that kind of shaped what your interests were going forward?
I mean, initially, like I didn't really before I started keeping monitors and I've been keeping beadeds now for probably like 7 or 8 years now.
Okay.
Probably roughly. But I mean, monitors, I mean, I got my first monitor was an Argus. But I mean, I got him I still have him. He's freaking giant, but I mean, it didn't immediately, start off with monitors. And I mean, I guess it kind of started off initially with beadeds after a couple of years, but originally I was a big retic guy. And I just kind of they would get shipments of retics in and I'd be like, oh, cool, look at this little morph or look at this, crap. But I mean, it kind of started with retics, I guess. And then it kind of, once I got cause I never really I did a lot of research back in the day with monitors. When I was keeping stuff in, retics and, whatever the hell else I had back then. But I never really pulled the trigger. And I was at a reptile show back in, I was super show back in 2020, I think. And I was helping a friend vend, and one of the people we were vending with was John and Alex of Sim Container.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, they had a little, tiny little Argus. And I was like, man, I was like, if one of my snakes sell or, whatever, I'm like, maybe I'll buy it from you guys or whatever. And, and then I was just kind of, I did have Tegus before then, but no monitors or anything like that. I had Tegus for I think a year or something like that. But yeah, no, it was kind of towards the end of the show. And then I was just like, oh, I don't have enough money for it. And they were driving off, and John, he yells at me. He's like, Alek, come back. And he pulls out the shipping box and he takes out the Argus and he's like, here you go, and I was just holy shit. And I mean, that's kind of where the real love for monitors started, 2019, 2018, or 2019, 2020. when I actually started keeping, but I mean, I did like a ton of research before that, but I was keeping other crap, before.
Sure.
And then I think like later that year, because I had blue albino tegus, and that's at the time when they were like still really expensive, and that's what I traded for my my first Lace monitor. But that's at the time when they were, But I mean, I had the Lace monitor for like, I still have him. He's a freaking beast now, but he's actually the dad to a lot of the babies I have.
Okay.
But I kept him for like probably 2 or 3 years, I would say, before I initially got my, started collecting them, like a freaking maniac. But, and then after that, that's when I got the dark one. And I was like, oh shit, like this is freaking badass,
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I'd say still to this day, I mean, I don't have any lizards right now, but I'd have to say laces have been my favorite lizards I've kept overall. Crocs are up there, but there's just like, I don't know, not to downplay the potential of laces, but for me at least, you didn't have to be quite as on edge at every given moment with the laces.
Oh yeah.
Crocs.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. There was definitely like chill.
Don't get me wrong. Like, like some of my males, like, they can get hormonal sometimes, and, sometimes they'll charge me mouth open and, yada, yada, or whatever, but yeah, something about a croc. They're not, they think like like I remember like, this was years ago, but like my first time holding like an adult, like I was just holding it in my hand, and like probably something you shouldn't do with a 5, 6, 7 foot wild croc, but I was like looking at its eye, and it's like, and I mean the lace do this too, but like it was something about the croc, like it was like dilating in and out, and I was like, oh shit, like it's thinking, like it's really it's thinking.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah, they're incredible, but yeah, they you can't take a moment off with those animals.
No, yeah, always on edge. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You'd be stupid if you're not on. That's how accidents happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anybody who's into monitors, they've seen, we've all seen like the Crutchfield bite, for instance. Man.
Yeah.
And it's something you got to keep in mind when you're working with these big monitors. I mean, laces as well, obviously, like the potential consequences are nothing
big
to
big teeth.
Yeah. They have big teeth, and they have very, very strong jaws.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Same with like the beateds too. Like and
they're venomous.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Not only that, but like I've never personally been bitten by anything over like a foot, and I've only been bitten 3 times. And one of them was that one that was like about a foot, but the other 2 times were just like babies I had just hatched out. But like I've had friends tell me, and just, people I'd be talking to, and they're, they tell me they get bit by like an adult beaded, and they're like, it's worse than anything. Like it's worse than a croc. It's worse than like all of it, like combined. So it's like, I don't want to feel that anytime.
I mean, shoot, what were your bites like?
Well, they were, I kind of got them off like kind of real quick. But I mean, they swelled up a little bit of redness, throbbing, stiffness. But I mean, it wasn't like a crazy full envenomation where they chew on you and, then you're really screwed. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on, you see people online all the time, not even online, at freaking reptile shows, like passing bearded lizards around like they're bearded dragons. Like, what are your thoughts on some of this stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really take stuff out for people unless they're, you know, serious about buying. Like, I don't know. I mean, anything with a mouth can bite, you know? Yeah, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't really, because it's like, God forbid an accident did happen. You know, it's like, say you've got like a big male and you're just holding it in a, you know, and everybody's crowding around you, you know, and it's like, you know, God forbid a kid accidentally does something and, you know, you're not looking or whatever. It's like, you know, it's like, you know, bye freaking, you know, reptile hobby. But I mean, you know, in general, I don't take stuff out unless you're, you know, you want to buy it, you know, or it's like, I've been talking to you for a little bit, or it's, you know, I know you're a friend of mine, and it's like, okay, I don't give a fuck if you get bit. Like, you know, I don't care if you get bit, you know, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I have lots of people, you know, when I bring them to the shows, everybody's like, can I hold it? Can I hold it? You know, or whatever. And I'm like, no, sorry. Like, you know, I don't want to risk, you know, somebody I don't know get bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Aside from the super shows, do you vend many shows?
I did a couple of the CRV ones, the Central Valley shows. I did like 2 or 3 of those, but one of them I was helping a buddy vend, or he was out in Arizona doing a show. Like, he has a full-fledged, it's let me give a shout out to him, but Cucaracha plug. Eric, Eric's a really good guy. I get, you know, all my feeders from him. But I was helping, he was out doing a show in Arizona, and he asked me, you know, he's like, hey, do you want to take a table and you take all my stuff out and you vend for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. But yeah, I've done 2 or 3 of those, but in general, you know, after doing those, like, I was like, dude, I'm like, this is not worth it. I'm like, I'd rather just do my 3 super shows a year and, you know, just call it quits, be done with it, you know?
Yeah. I definitely get that. I mean, especially when you're in a more niche aspect of the industry,
Yeah.
you know, shows are almost more for, like, I don't want to say this, the status of it, but, you know, it's an experience.
Yeah. And it's also a good way to, like, you know, get out there, you know, market yourself, you know? It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I was, you know, some of those other shows I did, like, yeah, I had beaded, or like, I think one of the shows I brought beadeds. But I mean, I didn't bring lace because, I mean, I didn't have lace, you know, I sold out of everything. But like, you know, I told you before the show, you know, like, I tried going full time. So I had, you know, some, you know, cool looking king snakes, you know, goanine, you know, Florida kings, Eastern kings, you know, I bought groups of Ackies, false water cobras, you know, I had stuff like that, you know, none of the stuff I actually, you know, work with. The stuff I work with, like, that's going to be out like super shows pretty much.
Sure.
Like the lace and the beadeds, you know, but it's like, you know, I mean, anything can happen at a show, but like, you know, the tiny shows like that, you know, nobody's going to be spending, you know, $4 or $5 grand on a lizard, you know, there. Like, I mean, anything can happen, but
right. It's definitely possible, but I mean, anybody who's in a market for,
at least in California, I feel like, I mean, who knows, you know, people at other shows, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know that area.
Sure. I feel like if anyone's in the market for a lizard that's that expensive, they've already identified online who, the short list of people they want to get that animal from.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say, you know, there's definitely, you probably know this better than me, but I feel like there are people who kind of would want to interact with that lizard a little bit first before fully pulling the trigger, or like if you have 2 or 3 of them, choosing between, like, do you ever have any of that, people who want to come to the show to see them actually in person to pick out their lizard?
Yeah. I've had that happen once or twice, I think. But yeah, there are people that, you know, they do come and they're like, hey, I want to see you. I want to see your, you know, your beadeds. I want to pick from you, or, you know, and they'll tell me, they'll be like, you know, hey, I follow you on Instagram, you know, thought you were going to be here, you know, stuff like that. You know? Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, it's always a really good feeling of, like, kind of validation that the work you're doing is, you know, being noticed by people. When you get those kind of reactions, definitely is,
yeah,
it's always good. Very
Yeah.
cool. Hell yeah. Kind of bouncing around, but you made that kind of brief mention of the attempt to do this full time. Was that something you always kind of had like the goal of, or was the opportunity just kind of there presenting itself? Like, what was your thought process behind that?
I don't know. I mean, I was selling a lot of laces.
Yeah, no, for sure.
A lot
Makes
of
sense.
laces, and I was like, I mean, a lot of freaking everything. Just beat it late. I'm like, huh. I mean, I got tons of friends that do this full time. And they make their living off of it. Or yeah, they make pays the bills, and I'm like, you know what, maybe what if I give it a shot? But I don't know. It's kind of something. It's like you need, like, at least in my opinion, if you can make it work, run with it. But it's at least for me, it's like I need something else. Like I need, right now I work for my family's restaurant, but I mean, I did like a little bit of trade school. So I went to community college. I'm doing welding. So, a trade job.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if I could do, if you can do both, it's like, okay, cool. At least I have, the fallback, just a regular job. But,
Sure.
I don't know. It's about, like at least what my friends have told me, it's like, once you find that thing, like just freaking run with it, like at least with animals, it's like once you find a thing that works, or whatever, and, just freaking run with it and keep building and building and building, but I mean, I don't know if I didn't give myself enough time. Cause I mean, I did quit I was still doing, welding school, or wait, was I? Yeah, I was still doing like welding school at the time. Just at like community college, but, I didn't. I actually quit the restaurant for like 2-3 months, and then I came back to it because I was like, dude, like, fucking, I got bills to fucking pay. I'm like, I can't rely on selling this, animal to help me pay for my bills. I'm just
Sure.
like, screw this crap, especially because it's a family, family business. It's like, it's always there, and I'm just, can't do that.
Yeah, well, I feel like also you got to take into consideration location as well. There's parts of the country where, surviving off of animal money might stretch you a little bit longer than
Yeah.
SoCal. So
Yeah, California, yeah.
yeah, it definitely has a lot to do with it.
Especially the place, the area I live. But yeah, it's tough, but take the punches, whatever.
I mean, hey, you get to live in like the coolest place in the entire country. So
Yeah. There's cool places out there.
in Southern California,
Yeah, I mean,
ocean,
Arizona,
mountains,
Mexico.
desert,
Yeah, I
perfect
mean,
weather.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm from California,
Definitely because of that. Yeah.
That's what I mean, there have been days where we've done that, like we'll go from the beach to the mountains, I mean, yeah, it's like, it's like a 3-hour freaking drive or 2-hour drive or whatever. But I mean, that is nice, California.
Yeah, for most people, it's like one vacation here, vacation to the other side of the country for there. So
yeah,
no, for sure. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it is challenging for sure. It's not like you're not living large off of breeding reptiles.
Yeah.
Like, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
definitely, it ebbs and flows, and then when it's good, it's great, and you're like, oh, like what the heck, this is amazing, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I haven't sold an animal in 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, this is at least what I did, but it's like, oh yeah, maybe I should have invested that, all that money I got back into fucking animals, like it's like, it's like maybe I should have saved for bills, crap like that,
Yeah.
But whatever. It's
yeah.
right.
I mean, hey, and there's never no one saying that you couldn't do it again if you felt like it was the right thing to do. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's also one thing that I kind of realized. I was like, doing animals might not, like doing solely animals might not be the way. It's like, I've always been pretty handy, like I've, built a lot of my own cages, it's like, you know, you got to get into other stuff too if you want to try to make up. Like one of my buddies, he's like, you got to have defense, you got to have, and I mean, another one of his friends told him that, and he's like, you know, you got to have defense, you got to have defense. It's like, you got to have something else in case, you know, you're at a show and the animals don't freaking sell. You know, you got to have bedding, you got to have dry goods, you got to, you know, you got to have other crap.
Oh, hello, everybody. Hopefully Alek is back soon. Not sure where he went. He is gone. And he is back. Welcome back.
That was weird. It literally, I was just like, oh, try again. I was like, what the hell? I'm literally right next to the Wi-Fi right here too. So, I don't know.
Hey man, this is live podcasting for you. Sometimes shit happens.
But yeah, defense, like, you know, people that solely rely on the animals, great, you know, but
yeah,
I mean, you know, it's like if I had to do something else, like I'd probably do cages, you know, and especially with the welding, I was thinking about it, you know, just doing something, you know, the next 5 years or, you know, whatever the hell, you know, I have more money and time and, you know, I can actually, you know, sit there and design stuff. And I mean, fucking space too, you know, because I don't have space to, you know, keep cage materials.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like I have space for one cage I'm building right now, you know, not like, you know, whatever, but, you know, I'd probably do cages and animals, you know, if I really was going to, you know, do some stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, that would definitely make a lot of sense for, you know, it would definitely track with what you're doing. So I feel like especially like for monitors as well, I feel like for, you know, just by the nature of them, monitor keeping comes along with learning how to build enclosures, whether you like it or not, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Like you gotta, you know, I mean, especially you gotta build cages that, you know, can freaking, you know, withstand a monitor. You know, especially if you're, you know, what I do, keep outside, you know, it's like,
yeah,
you gotta make sure that fucking lizard does not get out, you know, because it's like, you know, God forbid it does. It's like, oh shit, you know, you're hosed, you know, but yeah, you gotta build strong cages, you know, make sure it don't dig out, you know, dig out or, you know, bust out, you know, whatever the hell. I put screen mesh on the bottom of my outdoor cages, but you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, man, let's get into the laces.
Yeah.
So I would say, I mean, would you say that that's what you're best known for at this point, are your laces?
Yeah, probably. Especially because I've been so like adamant about dark stuff. Like I've just been, you know, just pushing them. Like, I mean, not just dark stuff, but just normals in general. You know, like I've just, normals are my shit. Like it's, you know, I
like them better too.
I have bells, but it's just, you know, I've been so adamant about the normals, you know, and I think people have noticed that. People are like, oh crap, you know, like these things are actually pretty cool, you know, normal versus a bell. But
yeah,
I think, yeah, definitely people, they know me because of the laces, I feel like.
So yeah, on that bells versus normal conversation, during COVID, when, you know, the popularity of lace monitors was just absolutely exploding.
Yeah.
Did you kind of key in on that at that point of like, hey, everyone is so hyper fixated on these bells right now that sticking to the lane of normals might, like, from a business standpoint, be the long-term move?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Because, or like at least because I only had one lace monitor for like 2 or 3 years, or like, you know, like 2 years. I was just enjoying him, you know, growing him up and stuff like that. But then it was kind of when I got that second lace, my dark female, everybody knows her, you know, Oreo. It's not until I got that one where I was just like, oh shit, like this is cool, you know, like people want, you know, this, you know, I want this, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen pictures of I think it was actually here. Somebody was doing a freaking podcast on here. I don't know who somebody was. But they were showing a lace monitor and like it was, I mean, it was like a southern type in Australia, and the thing, like, it looked like a black dragon from the freaking shoulders up, dude. Like, it just, black from here, like all the way up to the face. And it's like,
Yeah.
that would be the goal one day, is to get something like that, or produce something like that, readily, over and over again. But,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me know if you agree with this. I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this, and this is not a slight on the bells, but I feel like, a Bell's phase lace monitor is a beautiful animal. In a picture, it's absolutely beautiful. But like,
It is, yeah.
there's something about a normal that you can't quite capture it in a photo the same way you can capture the full essence of a Bell's in a photo. Like, you have to see that normal lace in person and like see the underbelly and like the blue on their face and just things that I feel like don't really come through a screen.
Photos, yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree. I mean, I always say, fuck bells. I don't like bells, whatever. Even though I still keep bells and still produce bells.
Yeah.
I still love them. They're still pretty cool. But I mean, I definitely agree. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I was just having a conversation with Mason yesterday about all this crap. But I mean, I think in the next, like, probably like, few years, it's like, that's when we're really going to start seeing like normals kind of take off. And I mean, they're already kind of taken off, but I guess like lines of stuff, like there's going to be blue, there's going to be dark, there's going to be, mid looking ones. There's, but I definitely agree. Like, they don't show up as well in photos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're incredible. Yeah. Definitely the one lizard I'd keep again would probably be, well, I would go, yeah, lace monitor, normal lace, and then also Alvarezi. I really love Alvarezi. They're incredible. We'll get to Heloderma later. So, yeah. So when you were really starting to get the lace collection up and running, what were your visions as far as your enclosures? How did you want to have them set up, and then how did that kind of evolve over time to, now you. I mean, maybe you don't feel this way. I know from my perspective, you have it down. Like you're really killing it with these laces. And as anybody knows with monitors, the majority of the battle is the enclosure and the nest.
Yeah.
So how did that how was that evolution for you as a keeper?
Well, at first, I mean, I just wanted to freaking produce them. Like, I just, I wanted to produce, I just wanted a baby, like I still have my original, and it happened to be a normal, actually. But I still have her, I just wanted to produce my, original, or I just wanted to produce a baby, but I mean, definitely I also wanted, like, I didn't want no, funky cages, like I wanted stuff to be in proper cages, proper nesting. Like, I wanted no bullshit. I just, I wanted everything proper, I guess. I wanted them, just to, what a monitor needs, a giant friggin' enclosure. I mean, that's kind of what I've done. And, it's, everything is, I mean, there is one thing I do need to upgrade. And that's coming soon. I just got to have the time to build the freaking enclosure. But, yeah, that's definitely, like, I wanted to put enclosures first and kind of space first, because like they will use it all, especially when it comes to males. Like males, I mean, I think I've said this on a different podcast, same podcast, just whatever, when I did the last one. But like males in the wild, they've been documented to like travel over a freaking kilometer. And like they'll go out to wherever the hell they're going to go out, and they'll come back exactly to the spot they were out before. So it's like males will use every bit of square inch. And I've tried to give my males bigger cages, which I have. But I mean, females in the wild, they're like they just stay around their termite mound, like their nest, pretty much. But I mean, I still have the females in giant freaking enclosures, you know, like 8x4x4s, 8x4x6s is probably the new enclosure standard I want to do with the normals, or not with the normals, with female lace.
The bells get 2 cubes. The normals get the 846s.
Yes. Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. Throw it in a 4x2. No, just kidding.
Yep. Yep. Hell yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. So, okay. So then if that's, I mean, shoot, that's definitely a phenomenal enclosure size. Is that similar to what you're running for the outside animals?
The outside, my 2 males, they're in 8x6x7s right now. And then I have Arguses too outside. And the male, he's in like an 8x12. And then the female, she's in an 8x8. And I do have 1 female lace outside right now. And she's in an 8x4x6 outside.
Okay.
But I mean, if I, you know, when I, you know, hopefully within the next year or 2, I can get my shit together, maybe I can get a house. But if not, you know, maybe I'll get, you know, a big ass warehouse and rent an apartment, or, you know, that'll come, you know. But
sure.
I mean, if I had more space, like I'd probably do like, you know, 8x8x8 for the males for sure. But probably keep like, because I have heard if you go too big with females, I mean, all, you know, bigger is better always. But I have heard if you go too much bigger with females, they can kind of get confused and they don't like exactly know where to nest. And sometimes you run into nesting issues. Not confused, but you can sometimes run into nesting issues if you go too big, you know.
Interesting.
But yeah, definitely the cages outside are bigger than the stuff indoors, or in the garage, I should say.
Sure. I mean, makes a lot of sense. You have plenty more space. Okay. So then what are you using for your nest sites?
Just those Home Depot 28-gallon the totes.
Okay.
Black totes, just like a 4-inch hole in the top. I do heating, just bottom heat. I have done top heat on 1 cage, which, I mean, it kind of worked out the same. Or actually, I had both. I had top and bottom. But I mean, dude, like sometimes I don't even, like on the nest boxes, for the stuff indoors, sometimes I don't even run heat because, you know, my garage will get like so hot already, like during the summertime, which is, you know, like peak breeding season.
Sure.
It's like they'll nest, and I've actually had issues with that, where the female, one of my females would, well, at the time I only had 1 female breeding, but now I have, you know, 3 of them breeding. But the nest, like it didn't click for me. But she kept, like, she would lay like half the clutch inside, and then she would like get out and like dump a couple eggs on the outside. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong? You know? And I'm like trying to think, you know, whatever. And then it like one day I was just like kind of felt the nest box, and I was like, I was like, that's kind of too hot, I think. And lo and behold, the next clutch, I turned off the heat, and she laid perfectly, like, you know. So it was too hot, you know. But that was something I kind of had to like figure out, because I was like, dude, she keeps doing this shit. I'm like, you know, calling my friends. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? You know, what the hell? You know, what's wrong? But, you know, ended up kind of panning itself out, kind of figured it out.
Sure.
But in general, I use like those 28-gallon totes, and then I'll use those the tortoise heat pads, those big Zoom Med tortoise heat pads, and I'll just plop the thing, you know, right on top of there.
Cool.
Outside though is different. Outside, I I got the clutch. Like, I got a clutch. My first clutch was outside, but that was a whole thing. Like, none of the eggs were good. It's, you know, I forgot, or I didn't know she laid. That's the whole other thing. But the clutch I did get outside last year, there was a little bit of nesting issues, but this year, and I kind of figured out kind of what it needed. But this year, I'm probably gonna do what like all the Australian guys do, and they do for stuff they have that lays outside. They do like insulated coolers, like those big ice chests, and they'll
Yeah.
the hole and heat cable, whatever the hell they do. I'm going to do something like that, but something that where it's insulated,
like make an incubator with a hole in it.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I have done. They work. Those ice chests in a pinch, they work.
Yeah. Oh, no question. They definitely do.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say that your garage was getting really hot and that plus the heat was getting the nest too hot, how hot was that garage? And then how hot was that dirt with the additional heating?
I mean, I don't think I got a temp on it, but I just felt it. And it was like the dirt. I was just like, no, this is way too freaking hot for, what they're trying to do, when they're trying to lay, when they're trying to feel out, proper temps and everything. But I'd say the garage was probably like 90, 95. Like it just freaking hot, like I'm having to turn off other heat lights, and stuff like that, this year I'm probably gonna install like a big exhaust fan just to kind of suck up everything.
Yep.
Kind of push it all out, all the hot air. But also though, I did, there's only like there's 3 enclosures in there right now. And then, they're big enclosures, but that's also one thing I did do, which should hopefully help, is I took out a lot of like smaller cages I had that were producing a lot more heat. So hopefully this year's, I'm still going to install the exhaust fan, but hopefully this year it having less cages in there will kind of cool everything down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. The thought of that temperature, as primarily a snake guy, is like kind of terrifying. But I bet the monitors were like, yeah, this is cool. Right. We're loving it.
Oh yeah, literally. Like, dude, I've caught female laces basking under like 150, 160 degrees. Like it doesn't phase them. Yeah, they're not under there for freaking hours and hours, but dude, it doesn't phase them. It doesn't phase them one bit, the heat. Don't get me wrong, you can still cook them. But yeah, they don't, they're, heat's like, oh yeah, what is this, nice weather? That's what they're kind of thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, I kind of want to, go through the breeding process a little bit. You kind of, maybe mentioned earlier about kind of having them in a bit of a brumation. What's your winter protocol with the laces to kind of get them prepped? And do you think that is a necessary component of lace breeding?
It's not necessary, but in the wild they go through it, and it helps like don't get me wrong, cooling down the males help, sperm production, yada yada, whatever. But it also helps keep like longevity with them big time. And as far as like, I haven't really done like a full on brumation, because I have everybody knows Brian Waterloo. He has, like, he tells me how he does it is he shuts off everything, all the lights, but I still keep on 1 or 2, but like I change out the wattages, and I also change light cycles too. I do like 7-8 hours a day of light. He does the same stuff too, but and then I pretty much just don't feed. Obviously make sure before you start turning off lights and shit, make sure they have no more food in their system.
Yeah.
Kind of clean them out, but he says he has stuff go off food for or his brumation is like 4 to 6 months. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm like, that's crazy. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like in the wild, they're probably doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do like, they're probably without food for, 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Maybe 4, depending on the year, but anywhere from 2 to 4. But I mean, I just do it just because I want females breeding in their, in their teens.
Sure.
I don't want stuff to die out young. I don't want that happening. So that's why, I kind of do it and kind of shut them down. I mean, everybody knows with monitors, once you get something cycling, it's like, dude, good luck, especially with water monitors. And, and I know people, water monitors, they try to slow them down a little bit, but it's like, dude, they don't stop cycling, So it's like the only way to stop them to cycle is brumation.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. Has anybody ever had a problem where they kind of, mistime a cycle or whatever, and they kind of start to shut a female down when she's developing, and then complications arise from that female being cooled down with eggs or large follicles?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything. I mean, who's to say, it's probably happened. But I mean, honestly, like, I mean, if it's got eggs, that's a whole different story. That's
right.
You're probably going to lose that female, but it'd probably just reabsorb if it was just follicles. Like, sure. And, probably if it was noticing the changes, it was like, oh shit, like, stuff's starting to cool down. Maybe I'll just reabsorb or, whatever. But yeah, I haven't really heard anything about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure it's happened, but I mean, I don't know any stories of it happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, they're definitely biologically predisposed to doing that. So
yeah,
there's, no way that has never happened in the wild where a female needs to reabsorb her follicles when it's getting cold. So,
yeah.
Okay. So then when you start bringing them up, do you go based on the calendar or more like, all right, we're starting to get just warmer temperatures? Like, what's your barometer for, okay, it's time to bring them up and get them rolling?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Kind of calendar and warmer temps. In general, though, it's like, and man, I know we're not talking about Heloderma now, but Heloderma I do Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day. But in general, that's kind of what I do with the laces too.
Okay.
Is like right around November to like February, March-ish, depending roughly, just when starts, stuff starts kind of, kicking up. Temps are a little bit warmer, less rainy and crap, but that's stuff inside though. But stuff outside, like, I mean, dude, the males, they kind of go into brumation on their own. Like, I don't really, like, because they're outside, they notice the changes,
True. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, shit, it's, I mean, I've had, like, one of the years, like, this was kind of when I was just kind of briefly looking into brumation. But I mean, dude, he like refused food for me for like 2.5, 3 months. Like, I would occasionally offer, because I mean, I have heat boxes, so it's like if I did feed them, it wouldn't be just rotting there in their stomach. It's like they would obviously have, they can digest in their heat boxes, but like he just, actively refused food. Like he was like, no, I'm sorry, and then one day in March or something, or, whatever the hell it was, just all of a sudden he was just, it's like a switch, kind of flicked in him, and he was just back on it.
Yeah. Okay.
That is the one nice thing keeping stuff outside is, they just brumate naturally,
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you definitely save a good bit on that food bill during the winter months.
Oh yeah, literally. Big time.
Okay. So then once you bring them back up, how How quickly do you start feeding with the intent of trying to kick that female into a cycle?
I mean, it kind of starts off slow, small meals, because I mean they haven't had food in months. But in general, once I know they're good, they've got solid weight, heat is fully back on, then it's like, start pounding them, and it's like in about like anywhere from 15 to 20-ish days, if I'm feeding every day and I'm feeding, not like heavy, but if I'm feeding like every day, like I'll get them to cycle. Like they will be, by day, and I've actually counted it with one of the females I had. I'm like, okay, like she's going to be ready to pair on this day. And like, lo and behold, put the male in there and it was like submitted like immediately,
Wow.
But I'd probably say it's not until like, yeah, I've gotten clutches in February before.
Oh,
but
really?
That's kind of when I wasn't really kind of doing the whole brumation kind of type deal, or like I wasn't fully, with it. But I mean, in general, like what I try to shoot for is like with stuff inside, at least clutches, first clutches and like, March, April, May-ish, roughly around that time.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. And then do you try to double clutch your females? What's your you do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I try to shoot for that sweet spot of like 3.
Okay.
Because I mean I've done more. Like I've gotten, out of my original female. She's still alive. She's still fine. But she's she's a beast. She's the best. I'm actually, not unfortunately, but she's going to a good buddy of mine, and I'm getting another female normal, and swip swap, whatever. But one of the years, or I think last year or something like that, or the year before, whatever the hell it was, a couple years ago, I got like 5-6 clutches out of her, like healthy clutches.
Wow.
One of them wasn't, because I like when people say, they're like, oh yeah, you can cycle a female and 30 to 40 days later they'll lay another clutch. I'm like, okay, let me try it, whatever. And I tried it, and like literally day fucking like 34, like she had laid a clutch. Like it was insane to me. Like I was just like, dude, that's like, it's insane what you can do in captivity, with them. But I don't do that, because that clutch that she did lay, it was all duds. It was like 5 duds or 6 duds or whatever the hell it was, or something around that. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But now I kind of like, in general, I, every like, I'd say like 2 months, I can get a female kind of cycle and lay, and it's all just food control.
Okay.
Like it's, all like right after a female lays, obviously I'll like slam her with food, and then maybe the next day it's all kind of random to me, with me at least, like I'll boom boom boom, maybe the day later, I'll go boom boom again, or I won't, and then I'll maybe wait 5 days or something like that, and it's just kind of random, and it's that's how I get clutches like every like 2 months roughly, like I don't really, because that's what I want. Like I don't want, clutch after clutch after clutch. I don't,
Sure. Okay.
Like roughly 2 months, I'll get a clutch of eggs.
Okay. So then when you're shooting for this time interval, are you noticing like larger and healthier clutches that you are getting, as opposed to if you were really trying to push it? Okay.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Okay.
Larger, healthier clutches for sure. Yeah. That's also one thing I do. I do supplement after every clutch. They're actually, I have it. You can get this at like CVS, but it's for like this. I think it's for like pregnant women. I think, but it's like a little calcium pill, pretty much, that I get them, and that kind of also keeps them, bones healthy, everything, healthy.
Cool.
But that's, I'll shove it in a rat or shove it in a chick or, whatever the hell I'm feeding, and, it goes down.
Cool. Hell yeah. All right. Well, I definitely want to get to some more
question, but
I got some more follow-ups, but we're right about that hour mark, so I'm going to go cut to these commercials real quick. So sit tight, everybody. We will be back in a few minutes with some more talk on nutrition.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's the one and only MORPH Market and MORPH Market Shipping. One of the biggest exciting things about the reptile hobby over the past couple years is MORPH Market Shipping taking everything to the next level. Anything as far as reptile purchasing or selling needs can all be done on MORPH Market's website, so I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you're in the market of purchasing your first, second, or third, or fourth reptile. You can find a bunch of legitimate breeders on MORPH Market's platforms. They stand very tall on representing the best breeders we have in the hobby, so don't look anywhere else when it comes to looking for your new reptile. Not to mention, if you're looking for aquatics or your next plant, MORPH Market's a spot for you as well. Make sure you head over to morphmarket.com, and the best thing about MORPH Market's platform, you could ship directly from their website with MORPH Market Shipping. MORPH Market Shipping has saved this hobby millions of dollars as a whole. I myself saved thousands with MORPH Market Shipping last year due to their insanely cheap rates, so definitely go take advantage of these rates on top of the amazing customer service that comes along with MORPH Market Shipping. Shout out to Darian and Zach, and shout out to the entire MORPH Market team. So proud to be a part of this team. Thank you so much for MORPH Market Shipping and MORPH Market. So excited to announce this partnership, and so excited to announce new MORPH Market features that are going to be hitting the reptile hobby real soon, like live sales on MORPH Market. Thank you so much, MORPH Market and MORPH Market Shipping. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Workshop Reptilium. Josh Hansen is doing things different over in his facility. He has one of the most diverse, beautiful reptile collections currently in the reptile hobby today, but he is doing things differently when it comes to enclosures, thinking outside the box, giving these reptiles bigger enclosures. I feel like it's something this hobby needs. So a lot of exciting stuff to come from Workshop Reptilium. I'm going to be flying up to his place to give you guys a deeper look into his facility, and I'm also excited to have an episode with Josh so he can explain himself where his goals are headed when it comes to keeping. Thank you so much, Josh Hansen over at Workshop Reptilium. Make sure you head over to Instagram, make sure you head over to Facebook. Also, make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. You can find all the links in the description below. Again, thank you so much, Josh, over at Workshop Reptilium. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, brought to you by ZooMed.
ZooMed is proud to be supporting the Trap Talk Reptile Network. At ZooMed, reptiles are our passion. For over 48 years, we've been creating premium foods, supplies, and habitats for reptiles and other exotic animals. We're a company made up of hobbyists that test our products on the hundreds of animals that we care for here every single day. Whether you're an established breeder or a first-time hobbyist picking up your first ball python, ZooMed has you covered with everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy.
I'm excited to talk about this new product with ZooMed called the Slither Sense. It is a remote temperature and humidifying monitoring system, which we all know how important temperature and humidity is to your reptile. And for you to have remote access to your temperature and your humidity in your reptile room could really, really be a game changer for the longevity of you keeping reptiles. So guys, make sure you check out that product. Find the link in the description below. Click on it right now. Give me your feedback in the comments below. Let me know how you're liking a brand new ZooMed product.
Alrighty, everybody, we are back.
Sorry for the interruption.
I clicked the wrong button. Okay, here we go.
One more time.
Okay. So, what kind of variety are you doing with your monitor diets?
With laces, a lot of birds.
Okay.
A whole lot of birds. I want to do fish, like maybe like once a month. I haven't really done like a whole lot of it. Like I did a lot of it back in the day, but or not like a lot, but I did a little bit of it back in the day, but I kind of want to get back on it. Like maybe, you know, once every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you know, throw them a whole fish, you know, just kind of, you know, some of the vitamins and nutrients that are in a fish versus, you know, in a bird.
Sure.
A lot of birds, rats, mice, you know, just kind of stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of the people in Australia, when they're, you know, out catching laces, you know, obviously it's very stressful, you know, being picked up by a, you know, giant freaking gorilla, you know, giant freaking human, whatever, you know, so they're going to regurge. But what they say, a lot of the stuff they're regurging is just birds. So, I mean, I stick to, you know, heavily birds, but I pretty much apply the same thing to my Arguses. Audatria, though, that's a whole other story. That's, you know, like strictly insects. Like I don't want to run into any issues. Crickets, roaches, you know, all that type of stuff. After like a female, like, you know, the Pilbaras, because the only Audatria I've bred is Pilbaras, but like after a female lays, I'll throw them like a pinky or two. But I mean, other than that, just, you know, strictly insects mainly.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, keep it simple, stupid, you know. Oh, eggs too. Yeah, I also feed eggs.
Okay.
Forgot about
that. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely quite the variety. What's kind of like a weekly feeding schedule look like for, I guess, let's say both an adult male and adult female lace?
Adult male, like once, maybe twice a week. I want to keep them lean and mean.
Yeah.
I don't want fat, overweight males. But I mean, if a female's cycling, you know, like I said before, every freaking day, you know, to get them to cycle, or, you know, I mean, like I was talking about earlier, like, you know, to get that to, you know, every 2 months a clutch. I'll do, you know, a couple times a week, you know, 3, you know, whatever the hell it is. I'm not super, like I used to be super anal about feeding, and like, okay, like I feed them this, and this. And I mean, as the years have gone by, I just, you know, oh, you look hungry, you know, friggin', you know, I forget who, I think somebody was talking about that. I forget, it was somebody was saying they fed like that. And I mean, that's what I kind of do now. That's how I feed pretty much. Just, you know, not random, but also, you know, relaxed schedule, I should say. Yeah.
So then how much are you feeding in one sitting?
That's also something too. It's, you know, sometimes for like a male, it'll be 5 chicks. Sometimes it'll be 15 chicks. You know, for a female, sometimes it'll be, you know, a small rat. Sometimes, or, you know, sometimes it'll be, you know, as many chicks as she can fit down in one sitting, you know, which is, you know, 7-ish roughly, depending. It's all very dependent, you know, kind of. But I will say, if I am like, once I've decided on the number, it's like everything is getting that number, you know, like regardless of the day, it's like, okay, if I'm going to feed 15 on one day, everybody's getting 15 as far as like males go. And, you know, but if, you know, all the females are getting 3 chicks, you know, they're all getting 3 chicks that day.
Okay.
Know? It's not, you know, everything is very, you know, the same, you know, as far as that goes.
I mean, as far as keeping everything kind of straight goes mentally, I have to imagine that does a lot to keep everything kind of on pace. So
yeah.
All right. Very cool. Very cool.
It's fun though. It's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So then when it comes to raising up babies for the laces in particular, what's your strategy with them?
Every day, pretty much. Everyday food up until they're about, depending on the size, like 6 months to a year. Then then I cut back big time. But yeah, I mean, I'll do crickets, dude. Honestly, like crickets and pinkies mainly. Crickets, pinkies, and then like chopped up quail and chicks or whatever the hell, birds and stuff like that. But I mean, everybody knows, don't get me wrong, like, I do have slow grown stuff, I have slow grown stuff, and I've also, back when I was keeping retics, I power fed the shit out of my retics, but obviously once they hit that 2-year mark, I cut down like a motherfucker, and I wouldn't feed at all. But I mean, same kind of thing with laces, it's like, or just babies in general, it's like they're a baby, they're designed, to grow, so it's, feed them a decent amount, but don't feed them like crazy,
Yeah.
And obviously, once they hit a certain point, I cut down, food big time. Because I mean, I don't want something, just massively big and, ends up getting, gout or, whatever the hell, 5-6 years down the line,
Sure.
And I do feed pretty heavily, but insects, pinkies, chopped up quail, eggs, keep forgetting about freaking eggs, but yeah, I feed eggs. Yeah, every day, every other day, it's like that sweet spot for me.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that about the early feeding, but then cutting it back. Have you, either in your own collection or in observations of others, noticed differences as far as kind of health into adulthood with with monitors, let's say, that were slow grown in the first year of life versus more kind of aggressively grown in the first year of life?
Personally, in my own collection, I haven't really noticed much.
Okay.
But I mean, I've heard of others, where they just feed the living shit out of them, but they don't stop feeding the living shit out of them after a year, and it's like, by the time that animal hits 5, 6, 7 years old, it's dead, I have heard of it with other people, but I mean, me personally, I don't, I haven't really run into any issues, or, I mean, who the hell knows, maybe, the way I isn't correct, and,
Well, hey, you definitely doing something right.
because my holdback female, died or whatever. I don't know if but
Yeah, I mean more from like the other side of it. So the animal that was grown more slowly, is it reaching sexual maturity significantly later, or does it grow at a slower rate from like 12 months to 24 months? Is there a correlation of the animals that are fed less when they're younger in their older age?
Yeah. I mean, if you're slow growing something, that's what I have definitely noticed, that stuff hits sexual maturity a lot later with monitors, like right around that like 4 or 5 year mark ish, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, no, dude, if you're feeding the shit out of your females, or males, both, like you will get them breeding by like, 3 years old, or, whatever, like you will 100%. Yeah. Now, is that good for them? Probably not. But, there was some guy in like a Heloderma group. He was just talking about, like, he was making some stupid point. I know we're talking about monitors now, but
no, we can talk about anything.
Yeah, no, he was just making some stupid point about like, oh, young females are better. You want them younger, yada yada, whatever. And I mean, I get that, but
right, Jeffrey Epstein.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, everybody.
Really,
He is still alive, huh? He's just in Heloderma groups now.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Fuck, you got me off track.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. No, talking about young female Heloderma being better for breeding.
Yeah, better for breeding, but in general, with not Gilas, beadeds and laces, and just all my monitors in general is like, I get stuff going like around like 3.5, 4 years old, roughly ish. Yeah, like around that range. I don't know, like especially with the Pilbaras, like, there's people that are telling me, I mean, it's obviously, it's known, like, Audatria, it's not like a lace where a lace is going to live, 15, 20, 25 years, so if you take care of it well. Audatria, they don't live that long. They got a short breeding cycle, short life. It's just, I've heard of, 15-year-old Pilbaras and 15-year-old Kings, but it's like, you don't hear about it all the time, and they're definitely not breeding at that age.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to females. But, I've been hearing like everybody's like, oh yeah, like, I'll get my Pilbara, my Pilbara is breeding at like, 1 to 2 years old, and don't get me wrong, I think it's possible, but I think especially with like Audatria and stuff, like I'm just noticing, growing out my holdbacks and, some other ones that I'm raising up that, I didn't produce. I'm just like, shit, dude. I'm like, these things grow really slow. And like, I feed the crap out of them. Like I feed them every day, every other day, crickets, dubia, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, shit, man. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like people aren't like, I'm like, I think it's maybe better for like Audatria to wait a little bit longer, than like people are like, oh yeah, a year or two, you can get them going, but
yeah,
it's better, maybe like that 3 year mark, 2 to 3, I should say,
sure.
2.5, 3,
yeah, I mean, that seems to be kind of a universal truth with reptiles. Maybe with the exception of like some gecko species that are very, very naturally breed at 8, 9 months old or whatever it may be. But yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, isn't the story that Jeff Lem got some Audatria to lay eggs at like 4 or 5 months old or something like that? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know, but I totally wouldn't be surprised. Like I I mean, I don't know, dude. At least just with me, like and I've talked to a couple other buddies about this, and they kind of have like the same kind of opinion. But I'm like, shit, dude. I'm like, the parameters are perfect. I'm keeping, humidity up when it needs to be up, temps, everybody's like, keep them hot and humid and they'll grow like motherfuckers. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing that. And I'm like, why aren't these things growing? I'm like, I'm feeding them every day. I'm feeding them a lot, but man, I don't care. I'm not, in a crazy rush, but, part of me is, but, it's just human nature,
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just, I guess like playing it by ear kind of with Audatria, but I totally wouldn't be surprised if, people, under a year old, people have gotten eggs, whether they're fertile, that's a whole, other story, but
sure. 100%.
Especially when it comes to males, like dude, I've seen people throw year-old retics in with, they're 6-7 feet or, they're like 6 feet or whatever with, 15 plus foot females, and they get the job done. So it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I remember seeing somewhere it was a female retic that was probably all of about 17, 18 feet, and the male that was in with her was like 4 feet.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
how does that even happen? Yeah, I know.
Like, man, I wish scrubs were like that. These little males don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So,
that's something I've kind of noticed with mine. I have a pair of Southerns, and like, don't get me wrong, like I've gotten the male pretty decent, but I mean, he's nothing close to the male, or to the female.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's still like 6 foot long, I would say. And I'm like, I've tried, I mean, I don't know scrubs that much. Calvin has kind of tried to kind of, teach me through it or whatever.
I'm
But
even blind, man. Oh my god.
yeah, fuck you, Calvin. What the hell? I'm talking to Scrum King. What the,
That's a shot at Calvin, not at you.
yeah. I wonder if he's still watching. He's probably going to say
He
something.
probably is. He's probably glued to the screen right now.
Yeah.
He's not commenting. He's pretending that he doesn't hear it.
Yeah, but like I tried breeding them or whatever, and it's like I don't know if I have something wrong or whatever. I don't know. This next year, the male will be a little bit bigger, and
small males get very easily intimidated, and that girl, she's probably what, like 9 feet or so.
And she's probably like 8. Yeah,
8.
like right around there roughly.
Okay. Yeah, but I've never had a male amethystina. I've had male Tannenbars and Halmaheras do stuff when they're younger, but they're smaller species. So yeah, as far as barneck southerns and all that, I've never had a male below 7 feet do anything.
Okay.
So
maybe it's just that.
It could very well just be that the male is just too timid and still, whether he's too young or just too small. Yeah, it could very well be that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm also, I'm thinking about putting them in different cages, and I don't know. We'll see. I like scrubs, but it's I like other stuff too.
Legs,
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been I was always a snake guy, but now it's just like, dude, the lizards have taken over my freaking life. It's they're awesome, but I used to keep a collection of like whatever the fuck I had, like 15 adult retics. Like that was back in the day, but
that's a lot.
Yeah. Still love them. I would still keep them again if I had more room to keep them.
Yeah.
I wasn't dedicating so much space to beaded or lace or whatever, but
yeah. I feel like when you're doing any larger lizard species like you are, it's really hard to do that and snakes at the same time successfully with both. I tried to, and definitely
it's not.
Shoot, almost no monitor success to show for it. So, it's really difficult to do both.
Yeah. But hey, if you can do it, whatever. No,
I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but definitely.
No. Yeah, I know you're not. Yeah,
it's a very different keeping style, and you really can't do them in the same space.
Yeah,
which is also, obviously, you're saying your room in the summer can get above 90 degrees. There are very few snake species that can even feel comfortable at an ambient temperature of 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So
that's just the garage. Like the garage solely has monitors in it.
Yeah.
This room I'm in right now, it stays cooler, like a lot cooler in the summer. But this is the room where the scrubs are in. But I agree. I agree fully. You can't really breed a scrub python in 90 to 95.
No, not gonna happen.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
But yeah, man, let's pivot to these Heloderma. So you said you have a pretty big group. Are you working? What is your group consisting of these days?
Whole lot of exasperatum. I got a lot of those. I have one pair of Hortum, and I did brumate those guys too. But that's also one thing. They bred twice for me already with no brumation.
Really?
That's one thing in at least in California, because I've had multiple other buddies tell me they don't sometimes they don't even brumate and they breed. And I've had that happen with me. Like it was just like I knew they were like young when I noticed it. I was just like cleaning cages, doing my thing, and just all of a sudden I was like, what the hell? I was like, I knew it was a pair, but I was like, these things are too young to breed. I'm like, there's no freaking shot. And then all of a sudden I'm cleaning and I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, these things are locked right now. I'm like, what the hell? And I've never successfully produced Hortum. But she laid like 4 eggs, and then I think the year after she laid 5, because I was just like, you know what, I'm going to throw them together, see what happens. But
Yeah.
This year I brumated them. They fully went off food. So we'll see if I can get some Hortum going. And then recently I am getting some Alvarezi. Yeah. Actually,
Oh yeah.
Sunday I'll be getting some. So
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I've wanted them for a while. I had one and I got rid of him just because of some bullshit. But yeah, they're not directly from Steve, because I think Steve, Ezekiel, maybe that Paul dude, but I think there's only like 2, 3, 4 people that have ever bred them in the States. But
Okay.
yeah, no, Steve, they're from Steve, but not directly from him, some other guy.
Okay.
But captive born and bred, they're, it's what I want. I don't want to around with any of that shit.
Yeah, good call.
Which is what happened with the male. Is like I was in a rush and I was just like, oh my God, I want the Alvarezi, blah blah blah, whatever. And like I don't know, I don't want to, it's like I want to, I want to know where my stuff came from. And then I was asking the guy, I was like, hey, do you know where this came from, or do you have paperwork, or yada yada, whatever. And I mean, it just ghosted, so I ended up getting rid of him. But I mean, I guess there is the argument where it's like, I didn't do the freaking smuggling. I just got it from a guy, and it's like, go after that guy or go after the guy who he got it from, or whatever. It's it's but
no, there's definitely a lot of gray area there. But obviously it's always
in the States though. It's like it's in the States,
Yeah. I mean, the best way to protect yourself is to buy captive bred, but
yeah,
you didn't knowingly.
I didn't. I really
didn't. And you didn't. So.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, but I mean, who knows? Maybe he is. I don't freaking know. But no, they're 2 young ones from Steve for his line, but they're cool. Like the dude, he's sending me pictures of them. I'm like, I'm so excited because I've been watching them for a while, But
yeah, no, they're so amazing, man. They're so badass.
Yeah. Come Sunday, I will have all the 3 species you can keep and breed in the United States. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. Be good.
Have you been to Reptilandia before?
I have not. No.
Okay.
I want to, but I have not.
Yeah, they have a Charles Bogart eye on display there.
Really? That's cool. That's freaking badass.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. That's I think. Does one of the zoos around me have it? San Diego or LA Zoo?
I don't know. I know that Atlanta is the zoo that has like the program where they have like all of them are at Zoo Atlanta, and they're very, very stingy about letting them go other places. So, but I can't say I've been like following it. All I know is that they got a crap ton of them there, and they have 1 at Reptilandia. So
that's cool. Do you know if it's male or female?
I don't know. It's one of the 2. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. It's not, XYZ, not kidding. Probably a male, honestly. So they have a big male on display. It'd be cool. I definitely do want to check that place out, though.
It's worth it. It's incredible. Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of a tangent there. All right. So then what are your enclosures that you're running for your adult beadeds?
I have them in those kind of like how Steve Angeli and a bunch of other people do it, but I have them in those like the 6-foot breeding breeder.
Okay.
Breeding breeder tubs. 1 adult per cage.
Okay.
In the past, I've kept them in 6-foot visions. I've kept them in other stuff, like homemade cages, but I don't know. I've thought about switching stuff up, but I don't know. It kind of works just kind of how I'm doing it right now. But I mean, I've thought about, doing some 6x3x2 PVCs and, keeping groups, or, 8x3x2s and keeping groups. I don't know. I've thought a lot over about kind of switching stuff up for them. But I mean, just, what I tell everybody, it's like, it's a walking snake, it's like no UVB, no, minimal heat. It's, feed once a week. It's, even, once it hits adult, every, depending on what you're feeding, 7 to, once a week, once every 2 weeks, but I mean, the Freedom Breeder tubs, they do them right. They hang out,
Cool.
Plus they're not, yeah. That's how I keep them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, having it one individual per enclosure, obviously you need to be a little bit more tactful with your pairings, considering it's not that they can just breed at any given point in time since they're together. So are there signs you look for? Do you try to induce cycling with food? Like, what are your strategies for getting them to go?
Well, it's literally, honestly, they're like, don't get me wrong. I did a lot of reading back in the day, and, I asked, some friends of mine, and I was like, how the hell do you get these things breeding? And they're like, they're all telling me it's easy. And, I'm looking at papers that, zoologists or, people have written back in the day, and, just doing a bunch of information, but I don't really do much. They kind of just do it on their own, I'll bring them up for a couple of weeks, feeding and stuff, and then I'll just start pairing. And it doesn't have to be exactly this. And there's, a million ways to skin a cat. You can do this abundantly. I know people that keep them together all the time. I know people that, do it like I do it, or, I know people that do it like I do it, but they do different days, or they keep it together for longer and, separate. But in general, I pair for 5 days, separate for 3 days. And then I just flip flop, back and forth, and right around, if I'm pretty, because there have been years I've brumated late, and I just brumated a little bit later and brought them up a little bit later, and then I'll get clutches later.
Yeah.
But in general, I see locks in June, July, May, or May, June, July, in that time frame, but mainly in June, July-ish.
Okay.
And then I'll have eggs August, September in general. Yeah. But it's it's one lock and they're done pretty much.
All right.
Yeah. It's they'll lock for freaking hours and hours and hours, but in general, it's, 1, 2, maybe 2 locks. I will say I do notice when it comes that time when, everything starts locking, I'll constantly check on them because I want to see the lock. I will notice the males kind of courting them a little bit more, and, they'll be on top of them, but not locked or anything. But I do notice that, the couple days before they actually lock, the males will kind of court them, go on top of them,
Okay.
Females are like, yeah, hell yeah, whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So then after you see that first lock, is there a point where you're like, okay, I'm good? If you're trying to get a second lock, is there a point where you're like, she's been bred, she's good, I don't need to put the male back in anymore?
Yeah, literally after the first lock, maybe I'll do one other introduction,
Okay.
But in general, that's it. I just,
Okay.
one and done, pretty much.
Okay. Do they have an obvious ovulation?
Yes. Yeah. They have a pretty obvious ovulation, and they do a pre-shed or a pre-lay shed.
Okay.
It'll come out in one solid piece.
Oh, really?
Have actually.
What?
Let me.
Ooh,
Can I grab
show
one?
and tell, man.
Yeah, I can show you one. I think I have it outside. 1 second.
All right, everybody. We will wait for this full pre-lay Heloderma shed. I feel like this is something I should have known, but we're learning today. So always an opportunity to know more in this wild world of herpetoculture. Thank you to everybody who is still tuned in with us. Most appreciated. Shout out to everyone who's been in the live chats here tonight. It's always a good time. I very much appreciate everybody being around. So, alrighty, episode 100, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we get Alek back here. All right, here we go. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Huh?
That
That's
kind of
crazy.
comes off like one giant piece.
Wow.
Yeah. This is kind of like a smaller one, but I mean, you know. you get the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But once they do that, it's about like I think it's like 30-ish days later that'll get a clutch.
Okay.
But in general, from first lock to eggs, it's about 50 to 60. Where after that first lock, I'll get eggs on like, day 55 or whatever, like around that time frame.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then, obviously, with Heloderma, one of the biggest historic talking points with them has been the difficulty of incubation. So, obviously, you have incubated them successfully. Do you think it's as difficult as people try to make it out to be?
Not really, but if water touches an egg, you're hosed. You are screwed. Like they will just immediately mold. I mean, I incubate in sim containers, I do, or my first year ever breeding them though, I like wasn't even, I don't know, that was a crazy year. But I bred them and I wasn't even paying attention, and I lifted up the lid and water got over like freaking half the eggs, and it was like a giant clutch. It was like from my big female that lays a bunch of eggs, and like, dude, half the clutch went bad, and I hatched out like 5.
Oh no!
Yeah, so that's kind of what
What was that? Is that a thing? You do a heart and it makes? Okay, that was weird.
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, sorry to anyone who's just listening. That heart stuff up on the screen. I'm not sure what I did.
Yeah. What's it called? Son of a bitch.
So you got water on some of the eggs. And
water. Yeah, but I mean, I incubate in sim containers now. I did incubate in sim containers the first year around, but I don't do it. I do my incubation now how I do the laces. So when I incubate, and I mean, even now, like I might switch a clutch around here and there. So I'll poke holes in the top of the sim container, and then I'll do plastic wrap, and then I'll just put the lid on top. And I did it the first time last year with beadeds and like had great success.
Okay.
Exactly, 100% humidity or, whatever the hell they need, 90 plus 95 or whatever to hatch. No condensation really. Yeah, it's, perfect. But yeah, if you have water, and it touches the freaking eggs, like you're hosed. You're screwed. It's like, good luck trying to save them.
So are you suspending over water in the sim containers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Water. but I do kind of want to switch stuff up this year. I want to do just so I don't have like when I'm moving the nest box, or not the nest box, the sim container, just as much sloshing, because it's like move them to, you know, vent them out, you know, once a month or whatever. It's like, you know, I have to be like so gentle, you know, but probably this year I'm probably going to do like perlite and water, I'd probably say.
That was always something that I struggled with in the past too. Obviously not with eggs that are that sensitive, but yeah, I mean, one little mistake, quick movement, and all of a sudden there's water sloshing around that container. And definitely is scary. I tried the water crystals too, and I didn't love it. Obviously it prevented that sloshing, but I don't know, it just wasn't. I hatched some eggs.
Like, did you still have like decent hatch rate, or?
Yeah. And I mean, it was on some clutches, yes, on some no. In the sim containers, they were fine. I kind of did some of these like makeshift containers, suspended containers, and wasn't that great. So I went back to perlite and vermiculite mixture last year, and you know, it was decent. Like I used Sims, but I didn't use the grates. I did the mixture and then did like a dry sphagnum layer and then put it right on. And I think what I'm going to do this year is because it worked fine for the pythons, but then I set up some colubrid egg boxes that were just way too damp, and there wasn't enough heat to evaporate some of that moisture, and it kind of bogged down some eggs. So what I think I'm going to do is, instead of like 50-50 vermiculite perlite, do like 2/3 vermiculite to 1/3 perlite. I'm sorry, reverse that. 2/3 perlite to 1/3 vermiculite, and then fill it up to the grate, but then also use the grates. So we'll see.
Kind of that barrier.
Yeah, just to have that, you know, that barrier, but without a whole like a pocket of air underneath it. So I don't know. Obviously, there's no magic solution to incubating eggs, because if there was, nobody would be talking about it on podcasts anymore. But, you know, the thing is, I've hatched out eggs so many different ways, probably 15 to 20 different combinations.
Yeah.
They're all like on some spectrum of good, and none is like foolproof every time.
They all have pros and cons. Yeah. I don't know. I tried out a couple things in the beginning, and then I don't know. I'm still kind of switching stuff up around here and there, but in general, that's what I do with like lace and beadeds. You know, poke holes in the top of the sim, over water, you know, plastic wrap, lid, you know, lock it down, and I mean, I've had success like that. But I mean, I know people that, you know, don't poke holes at all, and they just, you know, just put the lid on, what a sim container is exactly designed to do. But I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, there's a million ways to skin a cat, you know, a bunch of ways to do stuff. And get success. Yeah,
no doubt. I remember hearing like, man, this had to have been 2018, 2019. I'm not even sure who it was who said that this is like the only way you can incubate beaded eggs, or, you know, heloderma eggs, was like a container inside of another container, where like there was like perlite in the middle container and vermiculite in the outer container. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people. I mean, that's how Steve does it. That's how.
Oh, Steve. Okay.
Tons of other people do that.
Like that's a lot. Like that's a fortress for these eggs.
That's like that's kind of like why I stayed away, because I was like, dude, this is like too much shit. You know, it's like, you know, like now the way that I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, it'd be worth it to try for sure. Like, you know, maybe one day, you know, just, you know, throw a couple eggs like that, see what happens, you know, see if I like it. But yeah, no, I know the method you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, if you think about like the principle of it, okay,
Yeah.
it's not like flawed logic, but it's just like,
Yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
quite the multi-layered, multifaceted process to get to hatching an egg. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, like, I don't know. I don't know if he came up with that or he learned it from somebody, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, it works,
yeah,
so
no, sure.
don't,
Not knocking it, but just
don't
like
work. Yeah.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Not that's not worth it either because of what you're getting out of the other end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of as we wind down, got a chat question here. Have you bred your pilbaras?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
A handful of times. Yeah. I mean, I'm very open about everything, but yeah, like recently, I mean, like I was telling you before, just up in nowhere, I had, my main female die on me. Like, and I don't think it was egg boundness. I don't think it was like, I don't know what the hell happened. I truly don't, but yeah, I have bred them before. Like one day she was doing fine. She laid the clutch, eating like a champ, devouring food. Next day, dead. So like maybe it could have been cancer. Like she wasn't showing any signs of gout. She wasn't showing any signs of like, weird crap like that. Or, like if she was egg bound or if she had an egg, like she would be so much less lethargic, but I don't know. I have other females that I'm growing up. And then I have the 1.1 pair I held back from when I bred them last year. And then I may have found a couple of more, hopefully, adults that I may get. So hopefully I can kind of keep the ball rolling with them. Because I genuinely, I do like them. Like they're, they can be finicky, like, getting them going. But it's like once you get them going, they're, they fly. But yeah, no, I really enjoy them. Like, it's like a freaking, monitor this big that's, bright red. It's like, what can you not enjoy,
Yeah, I feel like, and this might just be that I'm not kind of up to date with everything, but I feel like they were much more widespread and popular like 5 to 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And now you don't see them quite as frequently as you do. I mean, I almost feel like tree monitors replaced Odatria as like the hobby monitor. Does that kind of track, or am I off base?
Yeah, no, that does, because I mean, like 5-10 years ago, like I mean, I don't know, I wasn't around, or I mean, I was keeping them, but I wasn't keeping that. I was still a kid, but yeah, no, like people would tell me like, oh yeah, so they were like $300, $500. Now a baby is like anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700. Like one individual baby.
For a pilbara?
Yeah, for pilbaras.
Oh, really?
Now, at least.
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, that I was more used to like the $500, $600, $700.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of
good for you guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, just like every animal, like stuff's in waves, just ups and downs constantly. But yeah, no, it just kind of yeah. I will say though, don't get me wrong, like tree monitors are extremely popular, but I feel like people are I mean, I just got my first tree monitor. I, a little, not baby, but like a little yellow. But yeah, no, I definitely think Aldatria and, pilbaras, Kims, stuff like that, people are, starting to appreciate a little bit more. Like, even Primordius, Storai, I don't think there's much Storai left. I know there's, I mean, I've got Primordius. What do you mean? Same with those. Like, you got to, make sure they don't disappear. You know.
What about Gilleneye? Is there anyone who's really working with Gilleneye?
Gilleneye too. Yeah, Mason. Mason has been having good success with those.
Oh yeah. No, duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mason. There's other people here and there. That's something I do need to acquire eventually, or hopefully.
Yeah, they're neat little lizards, man.
They're
like hardly even monitors. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, it's like a ferret monitor or whatever, Yeah, that's something I definitely do want to get is some Gillens, probably a couple more tree monitors.
Yeah.
Just, give it a shot, see what I got with them. Uh,
Cool.
yeah, they're fun though.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as like the big stuff goes, like I gotta, I kind of have to be like super selective, what I keep because it's like I, don't have the room for everything.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm still gonna hold back a lot of stuff and kind of pick and choose my stock. But like I'm really starting to kind of move into smaller stuff, like monitor wise, tree monitors, Audatria, stuff that anybody can buy and anybody can keep in a room in their house.
Yeah. Sure.
A small section of the room, not the whole room.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. No. It's definitely. It's the limitation to these big monitors, as we've always known. It's kind of been like the unspoken thing. Like, all right, maybe we don't need to produce as many black dragons every year as get produced because, come on, think about it. Same thing.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Cool. So yeah, as we kind of wind down here, I've a question I kind of in one form or another have been asking everybody in our kind of age range. What are your kind of thoughts on our generation of the reptile industry, the kids that are coming up these days? I guess in two aspects: the guys who are doing it these days, and then also, this is my take on it, is that I don't feel like there are as many of us who are taking it like very, very seriously as there probably were 10, 15, 20 years ago. Do you see that as well, where there's kind of like a much smaller group of young people who are really like really, really serious about the hobby and the industry?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I can kind of see it that way. I feel like though, I don't know, like people like they don't stick it out, like they'll get into like a bunch of crap.
Like Calvin.
Yeah.
Giving up already. You're not even 20 yet and you're already giving up.
We still love you, Calvin. No, he's over 20. He's
15.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, no, people just get into shit just to get into stuff. And then they're just like, they kind of just, downsize them before you know it. It's like they're deleting the reptile Instagram,
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's what I would kind of say. It's just, just ups and downs, with the younger keepers,
Yeah. Sure.
But I mean, also though, like, I'm 22, I'm still living at home, I'm trying to, eventually move out, but like, that's also one thing is like, my parents, I'm sure your parents, other people's, other friends that are my age that, keep as seriously as, I do. It's like, what other parents would let you take up a room full of animals or, a room in the garage, or, the back,
Yeah. There could be something to that. It just, how much more difficult it is to move out these days than it was.
Too, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I got lucky to be able to get out when I was 18, but I wasn't going to an apartment. I was going to a reptile and rodent facility. So like, it was a totally different kind of situation, but yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, shoot, I feel like these days, what would you say, like, you probably like average age of actually moving out would be in our generation?
I'd
25?
say like,
Or,
like 25 to 30, maybe.
Yeah.
Want to take that long, but I mean, I definitely want to, start getting my ducks in line and, start saving up, whether it's for, a house or, something like that, start getting down, get down a a solid welding job, on top of the animals, and it's like, okay, then I'll start making decent money, put money down in a house, all that stuff. But I mean, I don't know that. I feel like also though people like push super heavily, that it's like, you gotta boom, 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 but it's like, if you have really, you know, nice parents, if your situation is good, you're not living with piece of shit parents, it's like take advantage of it, as much as you can, like don't rush because, you feel like you have to, like kind of take your time a little bit with it and be like, okay, like, I won't have to come back, when I turn 30 or whatever, God forbid something happens. Cause it's like, like, that's my one thing. It's like whether I, am able to afford a house or whether I'm able to, get like a little kind of warehouse kind of type thing going, or, warehouse and then I rent an apartment with like my girlfriend or something. It's just like I don't want to be like, in the next 5 years be like, hey mom, hey dad, I gotta move back. I'm sure, they love me, but it's like, I don't, they would love to have me back, they're baby boy, whatever. But it's like I don't want to do that.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. Kind of feel like the plan that you enacted worked and it's continuing to work kind of thing. So yeah, definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I just, kind of part of what I'm thinking is like, all right, in 15 years, like are people of our generation going to be able to fill up Pomona? Obviously it's not like everyone who vends now won't still be around, but like, are we going to be replacing our industry at a high enough rate?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Because it's just like, dude, it's growing. Like it's growing like crazy. Like, I mean, I have like this last show, this last Pomona, there's this kid who came up to me and he was probably like 10, 11 years old, something like that. A young kid, and I mean, he's talking to me about like getting Ackies because I had Ackies on my table. And, he's a young kid. And I'm like, some of the shit he's telling me, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, this kid knows his stuff, man. He's done his research, And it's like, I
may have had a run-in with the same kid. I don't remember, but
he's like a little like blonde kid, I think.
I just remember him making reference to some snake on the table that I'm like,
yeah,
a kid to know what that is at 10 or 11 is freaking impressive. It was either an indigo or an Amazon tree boa.
Okay. Yeah.
But either way, yeah, I'm pretty sure I had the same interaction.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like, dude, like I've had that happen like a couple of times, and it's like, dude, I hope those kids, are able to, do something with it, because it's like, that's kind of what we need more of. But I feel like there's a large enough group of, keepers our age that are like, kind of, I think they could, they could fill up a Pomona. I think so. Yeah.
Well, and one thing that I think is really good about our generation is that a lot of us who are doing it at a higher level or are putting a lot of effort into it are specializing. Not trying to do the mass production of basic pet store. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like not just adding to the critical mass of common species. I'm thinking of even in SoCal alone, like, guys like you, Parker, Aiden, that, the whole crew out there, like you guys are working with unique stuff and being very specific about it. Mason, he ran away from you guys, but like same thing, like Mason has a few very specific, very focused projects. So, whether or not we're going to be replacing some of the larger producers, you can make an argument that's going to be for the better in the long run. But that show in 15 years could look freaking amazing with all the diversity that could be there. And,
that's one thing too. Like, when I was like really started, because I mean, in the beginning, it's like, dude, I wanted everything. I wanted boats, I wanted this, I wanted that. I wanted freaking everything. And then, like one of my good buddies who actually stopped keeping, he's like, I mean, he's known me since I was like 13, 14 or whatever, but I mean, he's like close to 40 now or whatever, but I mean, he stopped keeping for a little bit, but now he's back in it now. But I remember him specifically telling me, and it kind of clicked for me, like, not only one, quality over quantity, even though quantity is good, it's, if you're, quantity is like the stuff that, somebody, when we were kids, we're like, oh crap, like this is a cool rosy bow, or, this is a cool yada yada, whatever. And it's like, you buy from that person, then you figure out what you like later. But also focus on, and I mean, I know tons of other people have said this, but like focus on one thing, on one thing, and then get good at that, and then start expanding. Because it's like, dude, if you focus on, 10 different species right when you're getting into it, it's like, good luck. You're probably going to breed like 2 of them in 1 year, or 2 of them each year. You're not going to breed all 10. It's like, that's why I started with the beadeds. I got decent. I've had little humps here and there, but I got decent with the beadeds, and then I focused on laces really hard, and then now I'm kind of giving trying to give Audatria a shot. I mean, I've never bred a snake, which is kind of surprising, but
you make up for it with everything else you bred, so I wouldn't be so worried about it.
No, but I mean, I don't know. There's small stuff, like I got pyros that I'm trying to breed, pyros, couple of rosy boas, locality rosy boas, just stuff like that. But I'm like, I've kind of slowly tried to expand.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the way to do it. I did it. I couldn't have done it more opposite than that.
Yeah, really.
So, I think I'm below 40 species finally.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You've got between all the like the hots and stuff you have, so that's like
scrubs, hots, colubrids,
just the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and this is like the least diverse my reptile collection and smallest it has been in probably 5 years, 6 years.
Oh shit.
So yeah, so that's saying something. Yeah, and I'm at the point where I look around and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think I can. I think I've gotten down to where I'm getting down to. I don't know what the heck I can get rid of still. So
I know. Yeah, that's also one thing. It's like I don't know. Like I gotta it's like I'll downsize for a little bit, and then I'll get a little bit more, and then kind of fine tune, and it's just like a constant, just up and down kind of type deal.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many species I'm at. I don't think I'm like I'm not going to count subspecies because, or actually betas are their own species now. They're not Hortum exasperatum anymore. They're, Heloderma exasperatum. But
okay.
I mean, yeah, beadeds, lace, pillbars, Kimberleys, primordius, rosy boas, king snakes, a few different types of king snakes.
Argus.
Tree monitor, Argus 2, scrubs. I think I have I don't know, probably under 20. 15 maybe, somewhere around that range.
That's still a good diversity.
That's
still pretty good.
But diversity is good. It is.
Keeps it fun.
Literally.
Sometimes I think that if I had only scrub pythons, I'd still be pretty happy, but then at the same time I'm like, I don't know. I might also not. I definitely would miss some of the stuff I have now. No question. If I got if all the side projects I've gotten out of, especially last year, I kind of really focused. There's none that I say I would say I regret moving on, but I think I'm at the point now where if I started to move some of what I have now, I would get to the regret area. So that's not a good thing at all.
What's your favorite project with HOTS?
You know, that's a good question. I would say
I'm in Arizona. I do herping in Arizona, and it's like I can't keep clobs. I can't keep all the cool stuff, dude. I'm like wheeler dye, all that stuff. It's like, dude, I love all that shit.
Yeah. Oh man, it's tough. Yeah. I mean, overall, the willow dye are my favorite. I have 1.3 adult Silas. I got a litter last year. I really love those.
Fuck yeah.
This year, I'm going to be able to breed both my Armstrong eye and then my Zacatecas clobber eye.
Okay.
Those are probably the two that I'm the most excited about. So,
yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
No, man, clobs are. There's something else, I mean, forever, dude. Like I kept finding fucking clob after fucking clob. I'm like, dude, I'm tired of this. I'm like, dude, I want wheeler dye. And it finally happened last year. I got my lifer. I was with Panda. I was with Alex. He I've hiked that canyon many times, but we were together, and like it was like a rocket run. That trip, actually, that was crazy because I got a green rat the night before. So I got that length of the wheeler dye on the same trip, which was fun.
Wow.
He's like, bro, we got to go to this fucking specific ass rock pile. He's like, he's like, I found pyros, clobs, and yada yada all right here. I'm like, okay. I'm like, whatever you say. Whatever.
That sounds like the place.
Yeah, lo and behold, we found a baby clob, and at first
you're like, damn it.
Yeah, I know, literally. But then at first, I was, I was looking up on the rock pile, I was down below, and kind of eye level with me. I heard leaves rustling, and I was just I was like, wait, what the hell is that? And and at first I thought it was an alligator lizard. And then I saw its head. I was like, oh my God, it's a wheeler dye, dude. I was losing my shit. It was a big animal. I was like, dude, this is so cool. I was like, this is awesome. So we're just watching him kind of cruise around and shit.
I
took photos and let him go.
Hopefully I can get one this year. Yeah, I have yet to see a wheeler dye in the wild. So
that's another part-time of mine is herping, dude. Herping is, it's my jam. I love it. I don't have as much time anymore to do it, as when I was a little bit younger, but herping it's fun. So it's a good time. Done a lot of.
Yeah, I always try to encourage anybody who isn't herping, at least to some degree. If you're in the hobby and you're limiting yourself to only experiencing reptiles in captivity, you're doing yourself a grave disservice.
Yep. Yeah. Because it's I'm at the point now to where it's I don't need to, when I was younger, it was a different story. I don't need to get my fucking hands on everything and go take the photo, whatever. It's I'm at the point now to where it's just if I see it, I just leave it be, just kind of let it, crawl along its way, do whatever, and that's cool, within itself, especially seeing a croat,
Yeah.
It's you're just watching it right next to it. It's not even rattling, not doing nothing, it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It creates memories that'll last to your entire lifetime.
Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
We made it go off on a mini tangents, but
No. Yeah. I mean, I feel at some point, a kind of big herping roundtable episode could be pretty cool. Just sharing herping stories, and I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got
good.
No, I was saying I got a lot of good and bad stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look who decided to pop up after getting.
Hey, that's not the demon dog. That's not the that's the other the nice one.
The nice dog. Yeah. So apparently Calvin missed all the disses and just popped back in for the end. Real convenient.
What the hell, man?
Real convenient. Well, Alek, dude, thank you so much for being here tonight. Really enjoyed this conversation, and man, you're doing some fantastic work. So it's awesome to see everything that you're doing and seeing how it all progresses. So I'm
Thank you.
definitely really appreciative of your time.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Anytime.
So, for anybody who wants to keep up with what you're doing, what are the best ways to do that?
Facebook, Alek Najarian. And then my Instagram is _and reptiles _ I think.
Cool.
Wait, I think it is. I know it's and reptiles, but the underscores. I mean, if you look up and reptiles, it's there. You know, you'll find it. But
Cool.
same thing with Morph Market. You know, buy some shit from me, buy some shit. You know, whatever.
Hell yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Is and reptiles on Morph Market?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone go please check that out. Alek, thank you once again. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Catch you all back here next week for a new episode.